Imagine you're shopping for fruits. You love apples and oranges, but you have a limited budget. How do you decide how many of each to buy? Let's say you have two options, a basket with 5 apples and 10 oranges, or a basket with 10 apples and 5 oranges. Which one would you choose? This is where indifference curves come in. They're like a map that shows all the combinations of apples and oranges that make you equally happy. Every point on this curve represents a combination of apples and oranges that gives you the same level of satisfaction. The slope of the indifference curve shows how much you're willing to trade one good for another. If it's flat, it means you're willing to trade a lot of apples for an orange. If the curve is steep, it means you're willing to trade a lot of oranges for an apple. Thus, an indifference curve represents a graph showing different combinations of two goods or services that provide the same level of satisfaction and utility to a consumer.
Imagine you have 100 rupees to spend on fruits. Apples cost 20 rupees each, and oranges cost 10 rupees each. How do you decide what to buy? This is where the budget line comes in. The budget line shows that if you spend all your money on apples, you can buy 5 apples, 100 rupees per 20 rupees per apple. Similarly, if you spend all your money on oranges, you can buy 10 oranges, 100 rupees per 10 rupees per orange. If your budget increases too, the budget line shifts outward, allowing you to buy more of both apples and oranges. Consumer equilibrium is the point where a consumer maximizes their satisfaction given their budget constraint. To find this point, we need to analyze the budget line and indifference curves. The budget line represents all the combinations of goods a consumer can afford, while indifference curves represent different levels of satisfaction. The consumer equilibrium occurs where an indifference curve is tangent to the budget line. This means that the slope of the indifference curve is equal to the slope of the budget line at this point. So, the consumer equilibrium is the point where the consumer's preferences, as represented by the indifference curve, align with the economic constraints, as represented by the budget line. The income effect measures how a consumer's consumption changes when their income changes, holding prices constant. Imagine you have 100 rupees to spend on apples and oranges. Apples cost 5 rupees each, and oranges cost 10 rupees each. With 100 rupees, you can buy 10 apples and 5 oranges. This point is on your budget line. If your income increases to 150 rupees, your budget line shifts outward. You can now buy 14 apples and 8 oranges. If your income increases further to 200 rupees, you can buy 20 apples and 10 oranges. So, the income effect helps explain how your income affects what you buy. Money income is the total amount of money you earn, whether it's from a job, investments, or other sources. It's the nominal value of your income. Real income is the purchasing power of your money income, taking into account inflation. In other words, it's the amount of goods and services you can buy with your money. Let's say you earn 10,000 rupees per month. This is your money income. With this you can buy certain quantity of goods that will be your real income. If inflation occurs, and the prices of goods increase by 10%, your 10,000 rupees won't buy the same amount of goods as before. Your real income has decreased, even though your money income remains the same. Imagine you love to eat pizza. But what happens when the price of pizza skyrockets? This is where the substitution effect comes into play. When the price of a good increases, consumers tend to look for cheaper alternatives. In this case, the person might substitute pizza with pasta or sandwiches because they're relatively more affordable. Graphically, it can be seen as follows. The consumer is initially at point F consuming a combination of pizza and pasta that maximizes their utility given their income and prices. Suppose the price of pasta decreases. This makes pasta relatively cheaper compared to pizza. Consumers' real income also increased and shifted to a higher indifference curve. However, the substitution effect solely captures the change in consumer choice because of price change, keeping utility of the consumer constant. As a result, money income of consumer is reduced so that the real income, that real satisfaction and purchasing capacity of the consumer remains same, which can be seen as the equilibrium moves along the curve, from point F to point P. In conclusion, the substitution effect is an important economic concept that helps us understand how consumers respond to changes in prices. By substituting more affordable goods, consumers can adjust their consumption patterns to maximize their satisfaction.
Imagine it's your birthday and you want to treat your friends to vada pav and samosa with your pocket money. On the day of your birthday you find out the cost of vada pav has increased by 5 rupees. So, you decide to substitute vada pav by purchasing more samosa. This is what is called the price effect in the language of economics.
Let's understand it graphically. Initially, when the price was 15 rupees for each vada pav, you could afford 7 of them and 9 samosa. But when the price went up by 5 rupees, you were afraid your friends might start fighting about it, so you decided to buy only 4 for your special friends and 12 samosa for your other friends. Therefore, the budget line rotates inwards, indicating a reduction in your real income when buying vada pav. price effect is the change in quantity demanded of a good due to a change in its price, holding other factors constant. In simpler terms, it's how much you'll buy of something when its price goes up or down.